concept of being treated like a child. So at 55, when my 22-year-old treats me with some disrespectful language or tone, just that tone in her voice and the eye roll, that freaks me out. I can't imagine what it's going to be like if I'm 85. I don't know what that's going to feel like. I see it in other families, and you can just tell it hurts. I saw the dad, it hurt yesterday. Respecting autonomy and the decisions or choices of our parents. Respecting the fact that it is their life and their choices to make. No matter what. At the end of the day, it's their life. They get to make the final decision. And respecting that. That's a hard one for adult children. It is, because we're going to flip this in a little bit. Because the adult children care. And they're typically coming from a place of caring and love, and they might just not be very good at it because it's a very unique situation for them to be in. Wow. So right now, I can't decide yet if that's going to be a value or a goal. To have as much independence as possible. I think we're bleeding into the goals, but we want to be guided by the values in the relationship.
I think mutual respect, not just respect, but mutual respect.
I feel like you're much better than me. He said mutual respect, being guided by mutual respect.
And I think in that we have to understand as parents, we don't want to be treated like a child, but as adult children, we don't want to be treated like a small child either. And so how do we, I think it's about us navigating the parent-child relationship without infantilizing either one.
The partnership is already a big next step. We've been the parent most of our lives to our children. So us becoming equals and partners in a relationship is a big step in a new direction. So that's already a big, healthy adjustment. By the way, y'all's were fantastic, those answers. I'm hoping we got that on video and audio, Lance? Okay, excellent. Those were fantastic. We covered all of them. Okay. So making sure you know what your values are and the adult children know what the values are that y'all are going to be coming together in is important, so that they're talked about and understood and remembered throughout the process, because there's a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety that could happen or be going on. And as as parents, we have to know that our children have our best interests at heart. We can trust the partnership. And as adult children, I want somebody to step up now and tell me, what are the adult children worried about? Or what do you think their values, what do you think their number one typically driving force is in the relationship when worried about their parents? What? I think you it was in the first part of your sentence. They're worried. They're worried either about your health, your success, your something. Does that sound potentially accurate? I'm worried about my parents. See, that's awesome. See, now you're getting into the goals. Worried about their health, their safety, their autonomy, their independence. So if that's the main driver of the adult children, which we see as consistently true, there's a lot of areas potentially for us to partner in, correct? And to trust and to come together as a team. And we're going to get to that in just a minute. But first, I want a few case studies or a few things to think about. Here we go. I want to use some common examples that we see. Go with some classics. So a friend from church expresses concerns to you about their dad's driving. You also hear the father complain about being badgered by my kids about my driving. So without any additional information, that's a great one. Give me a thought or two that comes to your mind, because we got to make sense of this. So we're here at church. We're kind of involved, looking out for each other. It's easy to start talking about the challenges that come with aging. One of us is like, my dad drove to church this morning. And you can see that look in their eye like, I don't feel good about this. Then at church, you hear the dad saying, my son is badgering me. He is on me about my driving. It's never happened before, has it? Okay, someone from two perspectives. Somebody give me the perspective from the son. You're the son, what are you thinking? Like, flesh it out for me. Okay, son. He did say that? Dad said, if I'm ever that bad at driving, take away the keys. That's rare. I like that. I like that. But then the argument becomes, well, am I a bad driver now? Or is that? He's still a good driver? So if you're the son, what are you doing? What are you thinking? You're worried about safety. The son is worried about safety. Somebody tell me, Dad, what's Dad's perspective? I'm independent, I can do this. What's really motivating Dad? Potentially. Ego. Maybe one before that. So independence, definitely. He's wanting to stay independent, but there's maybe an underlying...
Autonomy.
He's losing, it could be fear.
Yeah.
Fear might be one of the factors.
Agreed.
Look, some of our older seniors like to play like they don't get it, but they know, and we're not always good at admitting it. When we feel like things our independence is slipping away, there's a lot of anxiety that comes with that. Because we don't necessarily have solutions to replace it, but the life we've known is having to shift into the next chapter. And there's no lessons for that going into it. It's like you're going into it all alone without a whole lot of coaching or advice or knowing what to expect.
There's grief.
There's grief. There's either anticipatory, you're either conscious of the grief or you're not, and it can cause you to act in certain ways by not dealing with it or understanding it. If you don't have solutions or know what it can look like on the other side of some of these things, that can just add to it. Is denial. What is denial? So denial is a psychological phenomenon. It is a healthy response to something. It's a psychological response to something you're not ready to deal with. So you try to put it off. So mentally it's too much to run straight into and deal with this wall. So you'll deny it. And a lot of times you'll start trying to deal with it behind the scenes a little bit, consciously, intermittently, or not at all, and you just keep denying it. There's a big difference between denial and cognitive impairment, a huge difference. Sometimes, hold on, let's get to some of our case studies that are coming. Okay. But somebody give me a hard line on, hey, Dad drove here, and I don't feel good about it. So as the adult child, tell me what you're doing. This is even more fun if you're over 65, you get to answer this. Only the over 65 crowd can answer. Somebody tell me, you're the adult son, say he's 40 or 50. What's he supposed to do about it? Okay, good. I thought somebody might say mind their own business. Good, discuss it. Let's talk about it. But if we haven't already partnered before these problems happen, it's really awkward or hard to bring it up for the adult child. So our parents don't always make it easy for us to talk about these things. I want one more day, just like it was yesterday. Let me deal with it tomorrow. I can make it through another day. Day after day after day. Who are the number one people to have a car wreck? Between the ages of 16 and 20 or between the ages of 78 and 86? Our senior geriatric population has taken over by far the amount of car wrecks and incidences. I'm sorry? There's more of us. That's good. Per capita. Excuse me. Per capita. Did you know we're the only country in America that if you get a diagnosis of dementia, you do not get your license taken away? Every other country instantly pulled. I've heard the dumbest things from our doctors. The dumbest. They will literally give you a diagnosis. They'll put you on Aricept, some other things, and they'll say, just drive closer to home. Oh my gosh. Thank you. That case study is coming up. That is insane. All right. Here we go. I want y'all to be thinking about this. So remember, values, we want to be thinking about and reflecting on our values of the relationship as the foundation of our relationship. So Dad has multiple scratches on his car from this past year from hitting things. You can always tell when it's starting because you have the garages, and they're not super wide. And then all of a sudden you start to see the mirror getting dinged, cracked, or broken, or you start to get a scrape on the side. You start hitting a few curbs when you're making your turns. If you're the senior, the parent, what are you doing right here? What are you doing? Hey, that's right. Hey, thanks for bringing this up. My wife runs over curbs all the time. If this is normal driving for them, nothing's probably changed. I'm saying if it's some new things. If you are the adult parent, the senior, what does that mean? Okay, you're either in denial or it's time to start processing the information. And then what would you, well, I don't want to speak for anybody. You're in here. Say all of a sudden you've got signs that something might not be as good as it was. What are you doing? Guys, this is the first time in our lives that we've even had a discussion like this about the challenges that come with aging. That is how far off we are as a society, as a church, as a healthcare system. These are normal things. These are going to happen to everybody. Some of us deal with it well. Many of us don't. We've got a lot of really capable women that seem more capable of making the right decision sooner or earlier. That's like 20%. Guys are even worse. You don't even have to be a senior. God, that's so true. It's true. Other people will start making excuses and say it was other people. Yeah, we see that a lot. You'll excuse it or come up with a reason as to why. I would say if they don't have a solution or solutions in place to replace them driving, their only choice is to keep driving. All right, so at least let's remove that barrier from dealing with it. Is let's have solutions and respect and empathy so we're not taking it as a senior as a personal failure.
So you would put solutions under also under the values, is that we would offer solutions?
I'm going to put that under goals here in a minute.
Under goals? Okay.
Yeah. Adult children, what are you going to say? Speak for the adult child. You went through something like this? Yeah.
parents lived in Illinois, and at least in Illinois, I really don't know what the law is here. A doctor can take away your driver's license. And so, you know, on an upcoming visit to the doctor, because, you know, he was in his 90s, so we went regularly. And I kind of alerted the doctor to the discussion I wanted to have with him, but we all three discussed it, and I told, you know, my dad and I and the doctor, I discussed my concerns, and of course, you know, Dad's an excellent driver kind of thing. But he clearly did worry about losing independence. And so the doctor told him, he said, I can take your keys away right now, or direct that your daughter take your keys away. Or you can go and take there was a certain name for it, a driving test, and have them evaluate you and then come back to me.
So let me ask you this. Who did you collaborate on before speaking to the doctor? Did you talk to who about it?
Well, I told my dad we're going to the doctor
so
to discuss it.
But you're saying one of your
I
key...
also talked to my sister about it, but she wasn't as involved.
So one of your key values, those, was collaboration. You showed your dad the respect and the partnership enough to talk to him about it.
Right. I said, okay, because I was clearly going to be the bad guy on this. But I said, but, you know, I'm concerned, and he, you know, my dad respected me. I know that. So he was willing to go and sit and talk to the doctor about it.
Raise your hand if anyone in this room, as you get older, if you are becoming an unsafe driver, raise your hand if you don't see it, but you are an unsafe driver for yourself or the community. Raise your hand if you would like your kids to help you do the right thing and to help you realize it. Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you would like to be a continued threat to yourself and your community. Raise your hand. Yeah, I mean, you get the point. So partnering is starting, the whole goal of this is to partner with our parents now early to put these things in place so you're not having to awkwardly make decisions that you haven't already collaborated with your family on. You've got a plan for all of these. Is a real goal of the partnership. Just as a sobering example, we had a pastor who continued to drive past when he should. His sweet preacher's wife kept letting him do it. This was just over 2 years ago. And he had no business driving. And he flipped the car. Wife was thrown out. She died instantly. He took 2 more weeks to die with multiple fractures in the ICU. Getting to think about, maybe I shouldn't have been driving. These are realities. I had a pastor's wife who shouldn't have been driving, who hit the gas instead of the brake in the parking lot at the grocery store and ran over a 7-year-old. This is serious game, and there's serious prizes. There is no place with the challenges that come with aging for the pretend world or the denial, or for families to not take it seriously. There are severe consequences. And on things like driving, it can involve the community. So go to the next one real quick.
In terms of values and goals, part of what I'm hearing here, Randy, is that when we have these discussions as a family, we actually need to write these things down too, right? So that we can go back to them and say, no, remember, I'm bringing this up because remember, we had this discussion at this point, and, you know, we agreed that we would have this conversation, this deeper conversation when it got to that. And I love you and I'm worried. Or, I love you and I'm worried about my driving, and I need your help because I think I might not need to drive, but I'm going to need some solutions about how I get to the grocery store, get there. So it goes both ways. But I'm hearing that, and is that what you, in practice, have y'all seen?
Yeah, so the actual workshop is where we write all these things down.
Okay, great.
We literally would be writing down our values and our goals. And then so literally in just a second, I'm about to do that.
Yeah, and we are planning on doing the full 3-hour workshop at another time.
In the future, yeah. I want to get y'all warmed up for it.
Great.
Mom gets lost when going places in her car. more than usual. Is it time to have a conversation? Is it time? What is the adult child's first thing coming out of their mouth when setting up that conversation? What are we probably going to want to lead with? Mom, I love you. Mom, I love you. We're going to reassure. If we've already done the workshop, we don't have to because we've already got all this established. We've got it all written down, already agreed on because we've already looked across from each other and talked to each other about what we want from each other in these situations. So if dad does not look good with his walker and you're kind of confident he requires a cane, there's been 2 falls that were conveniently excused away by dad and mom. There's always a reason. What do you do? What are you thinking if I'm just wanting you to start thinking about your biases. If you're the older adult, you're biased. You're holding on to life as you've known it your entire life. There's a physical curve, and we're going to hit over here somewhere in our 70s, 80s, or 90s, where we start coming down the other side of it on a pretty steep curve. Things that we could do before aren't as easy. Sometimes they become dangerous. So we know pretty much every adult senior's bias ahead of time. Raise your hand if you are the senior parent. Do you want your child who loves you to have a conversation with you about it? Raise your hand. It gives me hope. It gives me hope for Episcopalians, y'all. That is not the norm. If you're the adult child, think about this. If you're the adult child, are you comfortable having that conversation? Most adult children, okay, comfortable, not meaning you would, but are you comfortable emotionally with it? Okay, love y'all. All right. Many times the adult children are not comfortable having that conversation. So I just want the seniors to be aware that you're still probably having to encourage and parent your child in helping with that partnership. You call me and I'll be your new child. I got your, if you don't, I got you. If you don't have a child to have that conversation, did I hear you right? Sorry.
A conversation that is already understood in Africa, where
Oh,
I
is
come
it?
from. Yes, we don't have problem with children taking care of their adult children, making decisions once they find that they are old. Like in my place right now, I'm telling my children, it's turn by turn. I took care of my parents. Now they are taking care of me. They make decisions, and I agree. We can disagree, but finally I will yield because they love me.
That's awesome.
So all this is not a problem at all.
Huge culture difference. In the last however many years, cultures have changed here. We are not as good with this.
And it's family dynamics. But we can overcome any of those family dynamics that would be more resistant.
Yeah. That's awesome. You would not let your children be driving in the car if your mom is driving. You would not let your children be in the car with your mom driving. What is that conversation like? Adult children, do you need to have a conversation at that point? If it's not safe for your children, is it fair to the rest of the community where my children are playing in the street? Did you know that my aunt, uncle, and 2 cousins let my aunt drive her car even when she couldn't figure out how to undo the seatbelt she was wearing because of the dementia? You know when they finally took the keys away? Or excuse me, at this point, is when she ran 20 miles an hour to the back of the car in front of her that had stopped at the stoplight. So if the conversations don't happen, if we're not helping our parents, the bias, guys, and we don't have solutions, we got to keep going and do it ourselves. Nobody else is stepping up, and we don't know what the solutions are. Would we ever need to step in and start helping with the bill pay? Did you know that 70% of phone calls are scams looking for people with slight cognitive impairment that still have access to their bank accounts and credit cards? I know some really smart people, including almost me, I know a lot of people have been scammed by these calls. They're very convincing. So starting to become aware of the challenges that are going to come with aging and realizing there's solutions and understanding for them is key. So then what you do is you use those types of case studies and your values and figure out what your goals are together. So if there's anybody over the age of 70, over 68, where you can at least feel it, you can feel like, okay, there is going to be a decline at some point. You've probably lived through it with your parents. Okay, anybody over 40 that feels it, that knows there's going to be a decline coming physically. What do you think those, not your values, the goals? So senior parent, what would a goal be? Give me one goal for you aging when these challenges are showing up. Good. As much independence as possible. And then is it true that, let's say you can't be self-reliant kind of independent, would you want a solution to still be independent, living in your house, getting your groceries, even if they have to be delivered? Yeah. Because there's a difference between independence simply means you can direct your life and live where you want to and get your needs met. That's true independence for a human being. It doesn't mean you have to do everything for yourself. So you can either adapt the tasks of how you do it, so use a walker if you need to, only drive during the day, not at night if your eyes are bad, those types of things, or get your groceries delivered. Those are all a combination, but you want to be as autonomous as possible. Might be a goal. Okay, what's another one? I appreciate you, sir. Keep them coming. Do we all agree we'd like to spend as little time as possible in the hospital? Yeah. Speaking from an expert. Not a good experience ever.
Live at home.
Say again?
Live at home.
Okay, live at home, aging in place. So we want to remain autonomous or as independent as possible. We want to stay safe so that bad things don't happen. We want to be able to age in place. We want, wherever it is that we want to live there and not have to go somewhere else. Do we agree? Yeah. Okay. What's another one? I feel like that's a value or a modality. Honesty is like a value to be able to. Amen. So again, we're going to need to communicate effectively and honestly with our children about any challenges we're facing. Does anybody here think that, does any parent here think that if they have a child that cares, that hiding what's going on from them or thinking you're hiding what's going on is making their life better or easier? That's a mistake a lot of us make is, the nurse. It doesn't make it easier. You have more unsafe occurrences, more bad things happen to you when you don't get help or ask for help, and the kids are just worried. They're just worried. It's not helping. We have to just be honest with each other and help each other age successfully. It's time to get some payback for all those years of raising those little suckers. Let's get some help back from them. What's another outcome area that you might want as you're aging? So when to age in place, we want want to stay safe, want our independence. What do you want as you're aging?
I want communication. I want to be able to sit down, communicate with my children, let them communicate with me, and come to a mutual respect, understanding, whatever.
So that's perfect. So those are modalities. Effective, honest, open communication are going to be modalities to achieve your goals. So your goals, though, you need to define what the goals are for this one. I want as much independence or autonomy so that I can age in place. I want safety. As a senior or somebody's going to be aging, facing challenges, what else is it you want? I want quality of life. Part of that is going to be socialization, but whatever quality of life means to you, some of us don't want socialization. We want as few of interactions, but for all of us, it means something. Many of us would like to be social, maintain relationships, hobbies, interests, be engaged. So quality of life is a big deal for us as we age. As a senior, yeah.
Talking about a guy who did, okay, it was talking about the guy not wanting to use a cane. Well, is that vanity? Is that ego? You've got to kind of be willing as you get older to realize that you've got to kind of step back on vanity, probably especially, because you don't want people to think that you're an old person and you're out there with a cane or a walker or whatever. And I think that's got to go hand in hand with some of this. I mean, my dad and my mother had dementia really more by that time, but he and I went over a lot of goals. And, but he understood. I didn't have to go through a whole big thing about what are you willing to give up for that. He understood that and kind of thought about it in advance, except for the car thing.
So listen, everyone in here for that 3-hour has to come to the 3-hour one, and you have to repeat everything you said, because I'm going to videotape it so the whole country can hear it. Y'all are coming up with all of the right answers and right perspectives on these, which we will have more time to explore or flesh out. What I'm wanting to see is, raise your hand. Do we all want to age in place wherever it is we want to live as we get older? What about you want to stay safe and not keep fracturing things and going to the hospital? Okay. Raise your hand if you do want the heart attack. Got it. So that means we want our medical conditions to stay optimally managed, correct? We want quality of life, agreed? We want to be as happy and engaged in the things that matter to us. Do we want to be a burden on our spouse or our children? No. So we want caregiver burden to be as low as possible. Yeah. You want payback. I like that. She said she does want to be a burden. I love it. So do y'all know what this entire lecture series is about? Medical condition management, safety, independence, burden of care, quality of life, aging in place. The 6 goals that seniors have. Because we've already talked to 15,000 of us and know what our goals are, and then we did all the research to figure out how to achieve it. One of the major modalities for achieving it successfully is partnering with our families. That's one of the key modalities.
And I think another goal that it's probably unstated, but it's dignity. We want our dignity. And I think that all of this conversation actually helps us to maintain our dignity, not only our own as parents, but also ours as children in that relationship. Because if we, what you were saying about the situation yesterday that was disrespectful, that actually wasn't dignified either. So when you're not respecting the dignity of another person, you're also not respecting your own dignity. And so I think the dignity that we want as adults, period, is a goal. So we want this transition also to allow us to keep our dignity. And we have that as a goal as we work with our families in this.
That's
in addition to. And I think that's actually, when you said that this was a ministry, not a business, and that's what we're about, that's where that comes in. And that's where the church is here to help with these conversations. And it's why we're going to offer the 3-hour workshop, because we can't get it in 45 minutes. And the families can't get it in 45 minutes. We want to help people have that, and it's easy to bring everybody together to do that, and then we can also do one-offs.
So when we break and go over there and eat, if you'll look on your second to the last page, what I'd like you to do is while we're over there munching and talking is fill out, and then we just share over there.
Yeah,
Okay, some
yeah.
of our answers.
And we have pins. Pins are. Yeah, okay, so you have pins, and you can go through the side doors, or you can go